Before we dive in, drop a quick hi in the comments. It may seem small, but it really helps share this story with more sci-fi fans like us. I'd love to know who's out there watching. Operator Flock leaned back in his station chair, the soft hiss of his exo joints adjusting beneath him. Weather patterns locked until orbital drift finishes the next cycle, he muttered, arms folded across his chest. 72 hours of total calm. Not even a passing comet. Across from him, junior analyst Jarrell clicked his tongue. You say that like it's a bad thing. I say that like I might actually sleep a full cycle without alarms going off, Flock replied, smirking. His dual focus pupils narrowed slightly, a sign of rare comfort. Just then, a flash of white light crossed the sky above the excavation fields. Shuttle, Flock noted casually, probably heading for Sector 3. The atmospheric drones made a quick adjustment to balance the air pressure. Below, the mineral platforms of Taric IV shimmered in the heat. Their hex-shaped panels gave off a steady hum, pulling isotopes from beneath the surface. Inside Control Core 9, everything moved like clockwork. The station buzzed with quiet energy, the sound of a planet built for progress. The Cural staff moved across the decks with silent focus. Tall, smooth-skinned, and built for long hours, their cyan-toned armor plates gleamed under the lights. Their robes were clean, marked with simple glyphs showing their roles. No weapons, no guards. This wasn't a military base. At the central terminal stood a third figure, Commander Curvan Ray. Unlike the others, his robe had no job symbol, just a single bronze band across his chest, the mark of Legacy Command. He stood with quiet control, watching the shifting holograms in front of him. At 74 galactic cycles, he moved slower than most, but with the weight of someone who had lived through events others only studied. No safer region in 3 parsecs, Jarrell said, pointing to a floating map. No patrols, no warning signals, no conflicts for years. 7, Ray corrected calmly. Last trouble was a smuggler cell near Garn. Shut down fast by Protectorate drones. Flock gave a short laugh. Only an idiot would pick a fight under direct Protectorate coverage. Even pirates steer clear. Gerald tilted his head. I mean, honestly, the Protectorate barely watches this place. Most nav AIs skip us. We're just a side note in their system maps. Ree looked up, just slightly. Even side notes can carry weight, Jarrell, he said. Sometimes more than full chapters. But before the conversation could continue, a sharp chime echoed through the control room. All 3 froze. Sensor 4 picked up a gravitational spike, Gerald said, voice tightening. False flag? Flock asked, already stepping toward the center console. Maybe orbital equipment? Gerald's fingers moved quickly. Running checks. Wait. Sensor 6 confirms it. He blinked. It's not an error. Ree stepped into the command circle. His hand hovered over the center field. The system map lit up, expanding outward, and then, one by one, red markers appeared across the outer rim. Multiple ships entering the system, Jarrell said, his voice tense. No official ID, no transponder data. Formation's messy, could be a rogue group. Flock pulled up a tag trace. His face went still. Oh no. It's the Dissident Alliance. Tag signatures match raider fleets from Haroon Rift and Corridor H. Jarrell stared at the screen. That doesn't make sense. No one attacks here. A heavy silence followed. No one had, Ray said quietly. Until now. He stepped to the emergency line and activated the Protectorate channel. This is Commander Curvan Ray, Rerouted Control Core 9. Unidentified combat ships entering system. Confirmed visual. Requesting immediate support. The response came exactly 60 seconds later. No titles, no formal message. Human unit en route. Estimated arrival 14 hours. For 5 full seconds, no one moved. Jarrell was the first to speak, voice low. "They sent humans?" Flock looked up fast. "That has to be a mistake. This place is all mines and admin logs. Why send them?" Ree's eyes stayed fixed on the display. "They didn't send humans because of us," he said slowly. "They sent them because the dissidents pushed too far. This isn't about protection anymore. It's a response, a very clear one." Jarrell shook his head. "The Council never responds like this. They usually just send drones, maybe a broadcast warning." "They're done broadcasting," Ree said. "Now they're showing." "But this place isn't ready," Jarrell argued. "We don't even have a full defense grid." Ree finally turned toward them. There was the smallest shift in his crest, like a deep memory resurfacing. "10 years ago," he said, "I watched what happened at Javel. The Protectorate was losing, 16 colonies at risk. Every defense failed, nothing worked. Then 10 human ships dropped into orbit." He paused. "They didn't ask for access, didn't wait for orders, they just moved. In 48 minutes, it was over. The enemy, gone. No survivors. Not even debris." Gerald's voice was quiet now. "But this isn't Javel. This isn't war." Ree's voice dropped. "It is now." The lights in the control core dimmed slightly as systems shifted power toward the outer sensors. Outside, the twin suns of Taric IV still burned bright in the sky. But the calm was gone. What was once just another quiet outpost had become a battlefield. "They sent the humans," Flock whispered. Ree gave a single nod. "They did." "Yes. And now we wait." The countdown hovered at 13 hours and 58 minutes. Commander Curavan Ray stood like stone at the central terminal, eyes locked on the arrival timer for the incoming human fleet. They were coming, locked onto Vector. ETA steady. Nothing had changed, and that was the problem. Everything else had changed. The once quiet control deck of Core 9 was now filled with overlapping voices, warning lights flashing from every corner, and a constant stream of emergency pings from the lower levels. But above it all, the enemy fleet, still marked in deep red on the holograms, hadn't moved. They were just sitting there, in orbit, watching, waiting. Ree turned sharply. "Rue, shift emergency power. Prioritize sectors 3 through 8. Civilian housing along the South Ridge needs full shield coverage." Flock, now sweating under the glow of a flickering panel, shouted back, "Shields extended, but we're draining power faster than we can recover it. Cycling to passive mode, pulse the generators. Make it harder for them to spot weak points." A nearby technician looked up. Chief Systems Engineer Lauret. One of the few women on staff, her pale Khitan armor was glowing with heat bands from stress. "Commander," she said, voice tense, "we're out of backup power. If you want the outer housing protected, we'll have to shut down deep maintenance zones." Ree didn't blink. "Do it." Lauret hesitated. "That'll kill life support in the unstaffed sectors." "There's no one there." She paused again. "And the evacuation routes? We don't have clear orders from the Council. We're having to choose which corridors to prioritize. You understand what that means, right?" Ree's crest twitched, a rare show of emotion. "I'm choosing who survives." Lauret stared at him. "We're deciding who lives." Ree didn't respond. He just turned back to the display. The red enemy markers began to shift. Their fleet was tightening, forming layers along orbital paths. The pattern was clear now. They were done waiting. The first strike hit without warning. A beam of orange energy slammed into the eastern comm tower. No let-up, no warning. Just a flash. And then silence. The tower split in half and fell into the canyon below, a slow-motion storm of sparks and dust. 2 seconds later, the secondary relay exploded. A wave of blinding white light swept the skyline. "Echo grid is down," Jarrell shouted. "Plates 2 through 7, gone. Comms blackout confirmed." Ree stepped forward. "Where did that blast hit?" "Straight through our comm hub," Flock answered. "It wasn't random. That was precision." Another blast ripped through the upper ridge. Mining modules collapsed, triggering a chain reaction underground. "Seismic spikes!" Lorette yelled. "Platform Delta's collapsing! The entire fault line's destabilized!" Ree gripped the edge of the console, knuckles white. "Casualties?" Silence. Then Jarrell whispered, "Dozens. Maybe more. They're buried." Another voice broke in over the comms. Operator Gavik from the lower levels. "Commander! They're not just hitting our buildings. They're taking us apart piece by piece." A screen to the side lit up. A drone camera feed showed a fleet of mismatched pirate ships, scarred, rusted, chaotic. Bone-framed Vorik vessels, bulky Ur cruisers, even a stripped Sectari hull. But all bore the same mark, a black and silver gauntlet stripe across their hulls. The Dissident Alliance. They opened fire. No pattern, no warning, no mercy. A medpod mid-launch took a direct hit. Bodies scattered across the ridge. Another shot vaporized the sky bridge to the auxiliary power center, right as a transport tram began to cross. Ree saw the flash. The feed cut out. 12 lives gone in a heartbeat. The lights in Core 9 flickered. Systems began to fail. "Sections 11 through 13 are down," Lorette shouted. "Relays are collapsing. We're not even their target anymore. They're just breaking us." Panic was building. A broadcast channel suddenly opened, full of voices. Civilians, all talking over each other, pleading for help. Ree shut the feed manually. Too much noise. Not enough time. "The evacuation paths are failing," Lorette cried. "Auto guides aren't working. The maps are outdated. People are getting stuck, running in circles. We have no way to manage the crowds." "Override the core node," Ree ordered. "I tried. Damage on the east spine is too heavy." Outside, the sky shimmered. Dust and tremors shook the colony as more orbital shots rained down. Pirate vessels hovered through the haze like predators. Another shuttle tried to lift off, only 3 meters off the ground before an energy bolt hit the core. It exploded mid-air. A scream filled the command feed. "Commander!" a voice yelled. "Medical Officer Hale! We've got families locked out of Bunker 6. The doors won't open!" "Override from control." "We did! The system's blind down there." People were panicking, running on fear. Some refused to go into the bunkers, afraid they'd be trapped. Others tried to climb moving transports. They didn't trust the system anymore. A security team in Bunker 8 tried to restore order and started a riot instead. Ree pulled up a private channel. "Lorette, status on launch tunnels." She didn't look up. "Collapsed or blocked, except one. Just one left." "How many can it hold?" 300. That's it." "There are nearly 1,000 civilians." "I know." "Start boarding now," Ree ordered. "That's only a third of them." "What about the rest?" "They go underground. Every chamber we have." Lorette hesitated. "That's not shelter, that's a tomb." Ree didn't look at her. "If it buys them 14 hours, it's worth it." A heavy silence fell. Then Ree opened the emergency channel to every civilian engineer and guard still standing. His voice calm, measured, certain. "This is Commander Rek. Launch Bay 4 is active. Repeat, Launch Bay 4 is active. All priority evacuees proceed immediately under escort. All others, move to the subterranean shelters. Stay low. Remain silent. Await further instruction." He cut the feed. No response. No calls. Only silence. Then, another impact. The main observation spire collapsed in a pillar of flame. Rek closed his eyes for just a moment. then opened a direct transmission to the enemy. Unaligned vessels. This is a civilian installation. We are not combatants. We request immediate ceasefire. We are evacuating all personnel. Repeat. This is not a military site. We surrender. No reply. Another bolt struck the northern wall. The blast sent shrapnel and steel across the communications dome. Flock whispered, "They're not listening." Rex's voice was hollow. "Number. They're making sure we hear nothing." He watched the counter in the corner of his screen tick down. 13 hours, 12 minutes. A thin line of static shimmered across the tactical map, then vanished. Core 9 was steeped in darkness now, lit only by low emergency glow and pulsing red glyphs. Commander Kervin Ray stood silent. His breath was even, eyes steady. The countdown reached 0, all zeros. For a long moment, nothing. Above Taric 4, the dissident Alliance fleet hovered. Pirate skimmers, warships, a scattered cloud of jagged steel. Engines pulsed only when needed. Smaller vessels glided across sectors, scanning. No resistance. Not in over 12 hours. Aboard the pirate Dredsk Crawl Storm, Captain Rask loomed over the tactical display. Zakari by species, no mouth, just slits across a skull-helmed face, skin like molten onyx. He adjusted signal intercepts, layered coordinates. "We're halfway through recon," reported his second, a moss-green brute with folded stone ridges for a face. "Scans show scattered survivors. Shields are nearly dead. Systems unresponsive for 30 cycles. We just need to plant the flag." Rask said nothing. He stared out the viewport. The colony burned like a crushed circuit board. "Then plant it," he said. 2 more recon vessels descended, and then the void shifted. Not with light, not with force, not with any sound at all. 3 shapes appeared behind the upper rim of the pirate formation. No flash, no fold, just presence. 1 second, the sector was empty. The next, 3 human ships hovered in place. They weren't large, no battleships. They were black, matte, angular, no weapons arrays, no transponders, no heat, nothing. On the Crawl Storm, a Corvani operator, blue-skinned, triple-slit eyes, data tendrils twitching, stared. "I have something." Rask turned. "Define." "I don't know. They didn't arrive. They were just there. No fold spike, no gravitational wake, no heat." "They're cloaked?" "No, sir. Not hiding. Just invisible. Until they weren't." Ver stepped closer. The human ships hovered like shards of glass between pirate formations. "What in the deep void is that?" Down on Taric 4, Rex saw it too. The screens flickered, cleared, 3 new signals bypassing every protocol, just appearing. The control deck froze. Even Flock, normally a fire hose of commentary under pressure, said nothing. The human ships descended. No resistance. No fire. They slipped between capital ships like ghosts, through fighter wings without contact. No one noticed until it was far too late. On the pirate corvette Fang Hook, a Taraxi officer, insectoid, shimmering wings, black limbs, panicked. "Unidentified craft descending. No crew, no signal. They're moving like they knew our formation." Flock murmured, "Why don't they say anything?" Jarrell, "Because they don't need to." The ships passed low over the wreckage of the colony. No gear deployment, no sound, no heat. Then they stopped. Still. Silent. Even the wind stilled. Dan, a young Sertile tech, stepped forward, confused. "Why aren't they opening comms? Are they waiting for something?" Jarrell, under his breath. "Maybe. We're not part of the equation." On a pirate scout cruiser, scanners ran thermal. Nothing. Tried motion sensors. Nothing. Empty shells? One asked. Rask stared at the feed. They're not empty. You just won't see what's inside. Panic started to build. Prep boarding parties, someone ordered. If they've landed, we respond. No. Vare's voice cut through. No one moves. No one fires. We wait. But it was too late. 2 pirate skimmers descended, scanning the area. They reached the coordinates, then gone. No explosion, no impact, no trace. Just gone. Lost contact with Skiff 1 and 2. Trace diagnostics. There's nothing to trace. In Core 9, silence had become heavier. Even the lights dimmed, not failed, just obeyed. Rek leaned forward. 3 ships, no insignia, no signal, no weapons. They had landed, uninvited, unquestioned, unstoppable. 3 minutes, he murmured. 3 minutes since touchdown. The 4th minute began with a flicker. Then darkness. Screens went black. Feeds cut out. Maps fractured into static. Sensor layers dropped one by one. Lost layers 4 and 5, Deacon called. 6 is gone. Switch to auxiliary. They are auxiliary. Flock tried thermal, atmospheric. Nothing. Gerald whispered, It's not interference. It's like the planets reflecting us. Even shadows reflect light, Flock said. This absorbs it. Outside, dust hung in still air. Even the wind had stopped. Rek felt it deep in his chest. Not fear, not awe. Something else. Suspension. Like the whole world was being held. Begin recalibration protocol, Rek ordered. Even his voice seemed out of place. Technicians whispered. Footsteps softened. Lorette stepped back into the room as if afraid her presence might be too loud. Rek stepped into the center of the ring. Drones? Flock didn't turn. 5 units? Operational 2 minutes ago? Then they just stopped? No damage? Number just off, like someone rewrote them from the inside. Another technician, Taval, spoke low. Should we even be talking this loud? Everything froze. Don's hand hovered above his console. Jarrell barely audible. What if they're listening? Rek didn't answer. He didn't need to. Whatever had arrived wasn't asking for permission. Only silence. He stepped to the side console, switched to orbital relay backup. Show me the dissident fleet. The projections stuttered, then cleared. The pirate ships were still holding position. Waiting. They were reminding us. The words hung in the air, colder than silence. No one interrupted, no one scoffed. Commander Rek didn't move. The display above the table had gone dark, but the image lingered, burned not into screens, but into memory. The 3 ships, unmoving, untouchable. Not forgotten, but unforgettable. Marin's voice, so often sharp and commanding, came out subdued. Reminding us of what? Varn swallowed, but couldn't look away from the place where the ships had once hovered. That this isn't our board. Never was. We thought the war was ours to fight. That this was a contest of force, of factions, of fleets. But Lorette finished it, quiet and unblinking. They don't care about the fight. Only the noise. And now, Jarrell added almost reverently, it's quiet again. A distant alert blinked at the edge of Flock's console, an automated relay reconnecting with a far-off satellite network untouched by the collapse. It pinged once, twice, then stopped. No data followed. Rex finally spoke. His voice was the same as before, measured, calm, but beneath it, something had changed. Begin long-term threat assessment. Flag every deep archive reference to non-conventional intervention, human or otherwise. Set them against this framework. I want this cross-referenced with the Haven Shade event, the Aegir silence, And the cradle disappearance. Marin looked up sharply. Cradle? That's myth. We don't even know if it existed. We do now, Rex replied, not by proof, by pattern. Lorette added, I'll initiate a silent code cascade, just between the planetary networks. No uplink, no wide broadcast. I want every record kept, but off the loop. They'll come back, said Taval, his voice the faintest tremor of certainty. Everyone turned to look at him. Not for us, he clarified, for something else. But we'll be here, in the way again. Rek nodded once, slowly. Then next time, we make sure we're quiet before they remind us. Outside, the colony's dust-choked sky had begun to move again, barely. A stir in the frozen wind, as if reality itself had been given permission to resume. And above it all, the three ships still sat in silence, still unmoving, still watching, or perhaps already gone. No one knew. No one dared to check. The 9th minute began, and the world held its breath. And silence, it turned out, was louder than any decree. Taric 4 became a void, not in presence, but in purpose. A red dot on every fleet's star map, a quiet marker that didn't blink or call attention to itself. It simply was. Pilots avoided it. Navigational AIs adjusted vectors with no user input. Science vessels lost time when approaching the system's rim. Automated patrols recorded nothing and said less. No one made an official ruling. No council convened. No policy was drafted. They all just understood. Not because they feared humanity's strength. Strength could be measured, countered, negotiated. But because they had seen something that made strength irrelevant. Something not made to win, but to end. Commander Rek's words began to circulate, not formally, not through channels, but like a virus carried by whispers between decks, passed in the quiet between shift rotations and over encrypted personal relays. The final phrase wasn't quoted, it was felt. Do not test them. In the outer sectors, younger species asked what happened at Taric 4. No one told them. They would say the data was incomplete, that command had not authorized its release, that the records were corrupted, or that it was still under review. But the truth was simpler. It didn't matter what the humans had done, only that they could. And the silence, that terrible, perfect silence, remained. Outside the halls of power, beyond the orbit of forgotten ships and erased threats, a singular understanding began to coalesce, not in documents or debates, but in doctrine, unspoken and unshakable. The humans had a final language, and it did not require translation. 3 systems coreward from Taric 4, aboard the Zarthane Accord's orbital arbitration vessel Lex Primara, the Judicial Council met behind security-locked conference shielding. They did not convene to speak of Taric 4. That would have made it real. Instead, Judge Executor Nal Varan presented a revised security charter for outer border engagements. A line item, Section 4.1, Clause 7, redefined emergent system anomalies as subject to discretionary non-engagement, pending cultural or existential factors not publicly disclosed. The clause passed in under 4 minutes. No one requested definition. No one needed one. In the intelligence alcove of the Akari Sovereign Command, a diplomat named Corindal received an eyes-only packet titled, simply, Observation Only, Directive 5. He opened it once. No video, no images, no breakdowns. Just 5 words, do not initiate human contact. He read it again, then he deleted it and locked his console. Down in the repair bays of the Urax border fleet carrier NSS Halberd, the systems chief reviewed recent fuel and vector adjustments. One caught her eye. A new corridor had been plotted, curving hundreds of light minutes wide of a known jump gate. She highlighted the change. The route shimmered yellow on her console. A notification pulsed at the edge of the display. Deviation approved under autonomous sectoral clearance. Taric adjacent. Do not reroute. She cleared the screen and never brought it up again. In an isolated orbital node far above the dwarf planet Kirill 9, a long-range scout drone belonging to the hegemony of Valtis locked onto a lingering thermal echo, barely detectable, phasing in and out of range like a ghost signal. Its onboard AI cross-referenced the coordinates. It matched nothing known, not a weapon, not a ship, not a signature. The drone paused. Then, autonomously, it deleted the ping from its own memory buffer. Its last logged action read, "No viable target, no context, standing by." Back in human space, on the edge of Earth's defense arc in the sealed briefing dome above Tycho Prime, Admiral Ren Varric stood alone in front of a projected report feed, light spilling blue across the polished titanium walls. No one else had been summoned. No council, no officers. Just the terminal and a confirmation pulse blinking steady. He leaned forward. His hand hovered over the verify glyph. He didn't touch it. He didn't need to. The headline had already burned itself into his memory. Autonomous engagement concluded. Taric 4. Operational loss. Zero collateral. Non-deviant strategic conclusion. Maintenance preserved. Varric turned off the display and stood in darkness. Outside the dome, Earth rotated silently against the stars. No declaration followed, no monument was raised, no human name was credited. And yet, in 1,000 systems, on 1,000 silent channels, a single idea crystallized, spreading in the blank spaces of every sovereign's data net. They do not need to be provoked, only remembered.